Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, there we go.
How to withdraw profit at a live trade. To make a deposit.
Jerusalem, 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 Jerusalem. We want to go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go along. Forgive us for our wrong. Jerusalem, city of David, Mount Zion. That's what I put his name on. Them the people that these nations got their aim on. We found out where we from, that was game on. Jerusalem, we did you so wrong. We broke the laws, he left us alone. We waking up, we wanna come home. We follow Christ, ain't casting no stone. Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. I put my name on Jerusalem. 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 I gave my law to 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 Jerusalem. I won't forsake you, Jerusalem. I won't forsake you, Jerusalem. I won't forsake you, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem. We wanna go back home, belong. Forgive us for our wrong. Pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem. They could build that wall, we going back home. No vaccine, we going back home. Ain't taking my gut of peace, we going back home. They gon' find out the Father ain't strong. Zion, Zion, come on. Zion, Zion, come on. Zion, Zion, come on. Zion, Zion, come on. Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. home. Go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. I put my name on Jerusalem. 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 I gave my Lord to 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 Jerusalem. I won't forsake you, 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 no. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, yeah. We wanna go back home, go back where we belong. Forgive us for our wrong. I pray this reach the throne. Jerusalem.
Exodus. All right, shalom, shalom. Happy Feast of Purim to everybody. Today is the second day of the Feast of Purim. We know Purim is a 2-day feast on the 14th and the 15th day of the 12th month of Adar. This is my time approaching, actually my third time approaching during this lesson. Due to technical difficulties yesterday, I wasn't able to actually finish the lesson. I apologize for that, but today, Most High willing, through the Spirit of Christ, we can actually finish this lesson on the Feast of Purim. Due to the technical difficulties, I'm just going to start the lesson over again, okay? We're just going to start from the beginning. So let me pull my screen up. Give me 1 second. Go to my slideshow. This lesson is a pretty long lesson. I'm pretty sure it's going to take a little over 2 hours minimum. Share it. Okay, there it is. It says Happy Feast of Purim. Once again, we see the book of Esther because that's the book that we're mainly going to be going through today. Not too many precepts outside of the book of Esther. We're just going to read it and I'm going to break it down and we can reflect on it, right? All right. So this is a brief synopsis of the book of It says the author is unknown, Elisa of the Esther that the KJV version of the Bible. It says the theme is God, providential care. And the date of the writing is the BC, which means this was 400 plus for Christ. Let me hide this. Okay, there it goes. It says the background. Esther, which closes the historical section of the Old Testament, is talking about in regards of history. We got, a few different books that deal with just history in the Bible, like one of those books that deal with his history. But Ezra is the one that goes out the historical section of the Old Testament. It says, records events that occurred when the Jews were captives in Persia. The name means star, was a Jewish maiden who was queen of Persia. She used to deliver her people from massacre. The king Ahasuerus in this book was Xerxes, who reigned 486 through 465 BC. It says compare Ezra 4 and 3 through 6. Okay, so that's interesting. One interesting fact: this King Ahasuerus that we're going to be reading about, which was Esther's husband, this is actually King Xerxes. This is the same king that you see depicted on the movie 300. Okay, let's go on. What's going on? Okay, there we go. Before we get into the introduction, I want to say that the amazing thing about the book of Esther is there's not too many times throughout the Bible that we see women being the heroine. You know, usually the Bible it usually sticks close to men because the majority of the stories in it is about great things that men did. Even some things that may be contentious or evil or frowned upon that men did, but nonetheless, the Bible always talks about men, and it's pretty rare that it talks about women a lot of times. But this is one of the actual books that's, for the most part, strictly about a female, strictly about a woman named Esther, and also her cousin slash uncle, whose name was Mordecai. Okay, and this story is a redemption. It's a story about how Queen Esther redeemed her people, the Jews, from a man named Haman. All right, so let's get into it. It says introduction of King Ahasuerus slash Xerxes. We're gonna go with Esther chapter 1, verse 1 through 9. Book of Esther, all 10 chapters. It says, now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 107 and 20 provinces, that in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. All right. So as we see his empire or his realm that he controlled, which was Persia, it was because or it consisted of 127 provinces, right? It says actually from India even unto Ethiopia. That is a vast land. All right. Let's go to verse 4. It says, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 104 score days. That's 180 days. Four score is 20, and it says four score. It says 104 score days. Excuse me. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 score days because a score is 20. Excuse me. So 20 times 4 is 80. 180 days, right? Verse 5. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple purple to silver rings, and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon the pavement of red, and blue, and white, and black marble. So he had, the city decked out. It was extravagant and very lavish, right? Verse 7. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold. So everybody was treated like a king during these 7 days. It says great and small. So whether you was rich and you had high status within the Persian society, or you was poor and you had a low status in the Persian society. It says the vessels being diverse from one another, and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. So pretty much you was drinking the same kind of wine that the king or that nobility was drinking during that time. So everybody was treated on the same level for these 7 days. This wasn't like the regular wine that you can just go buy down the street. This was wine that was prepared for the king. It was the best of the best. Verse 8, and the drinking was according to the law, none did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also, Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. So you have the king having his feast, and then at the same time, the queen, she having her girls' night out. She throw a feast also for all the women in the city during that time. Now, y'all probably can't see it because I think my picture may be in the way, but I have a picture of a relief stone, and it has King Ahasuerus on it. And you can see that his hair, if y'all able to see it, I'm not sure, his hair is coarse, right? uh the the hair on his face, his beard, and the hair on his head is coarse. It actually looked like he had braids, but the fact that he had coarse hair, this shows that he was, for lack of a better words, a negro. Or if we don't want to say negro, he was someone who had melanin, quote unquote, a black person. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this is the realm that King Ahasuerus slash Xerxes ruled over in his time. As we see, it borders from India. The border to the east is India, and the border to the west is Ethiopia. Ethiopia and Libya. So all this territory right here is like a yellowish green color. All this is his territory, right? We see Elam, we see Sasu, we see Carmania, we see let's see what else we see. Libya, Egypt, um, Cappadocia, Lydia, Phrygia. All this was his territory. Thrace, Macedonia, Armenia, all this was the territory that was controlled by him during his lifetime. Okay. Even parts of Arabia. And I think this is either Yemen or Oman. I can't remember which one is on the east side of the Arabian Peninsula. All right, let's keep going. It says Queen Vashti is disposed for disobeying the king. So let's get into that. Esther 1 and 10 through 15. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the seven chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So, he's having a fun, festive time, and, he wants to show off his wife, the queen. Her name is Vashti once again, and she doesn't want to come. So at this point, it says he was rough and his anger burnt within him, right? So let's see what took place. It says, then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for all that knew law and were the Chaldeans. They was always known as wise men. Some people call them Chaldeans. All right, but these were pretty much like your magicians or your astrologers of ancient times, right? Also, what Queen Vashti did, wife or not, queen or not, this was like a capital, right? It had if you was the if you disobey the king's command, usually your head will roll, right? So what she did was like of the utmost disrespect toward the king during this time. Let's go to verse 14. And the next unto him was Karshina, Sethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Miraz, Marsina, and Memucan, the seven princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face and were set the first in the kingdom. So even though these men, 7 men are being called princes, these are not the sons of the king. These are actually kings themselves, but they're princes in regard to the status of King Ahasuerus because they're under him. His cohort, uh they co-reign with him. Even though he's the top, he's the head honcho, they reign under him and they have their specific dominions and their specific territories within his territory, right? All right. Verse 15. What should we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Perform the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamber. Okay. Next slide. Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. So he pretty much saying, like, listen, she didn't just do wrong to the king, she did wrong to everybody because this is the guy that we put in charge, or we, I don't want to say put in charge of us, but this is the guy that's in charge of us and we reverence him and we honor him. So when she disrespect him, she pretty much disrespect the whole nation at that time of the empire of Persia, right? Verse 17, for this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so their eyes, when it shall be the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not. So listen, they're thinking wisely and they're thinking, they're trying to do damage control because they understand that if the queen disobeyed her husband and this thing is made known throughout the whole nation, that all the women of the nation will muster up the courage to go against their husbands and to not listen to their husbands and to not obey their husbands, right? It's like if the husband try to say anything to the wife, any type of correction, or forget correction, just ask the wife, hey, you mind making me something to eat? Who you think you is? You ain't King Ahasuerus. Even his wife don't listen to him. I ain't got to listen to you neither. So that's what they were trying to prevent. They was trying to prevent an uprising of the women of the nation during that time because they didn't want them to look at Queen Vashti and seeing what she got away with and then try to do the same thing in their own households, which is not obey their husbands, right? And in today's time, this is something that's taken light. But in ancient times, as we see, they was actually taking preventive measures to stop this type of thing from actually taking place within the kingdom or within the society, right? All right, verse 18. It says, likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. All right, so they had an idea, which was pretty much like to find the king a new wife and get rid of Vashti, or to find a new queen and get rid of Queen Vashti. Also, I want y'all, if y'all have like a pen and paper, take note the fact that it says to write this thing in the law of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered. Take note of that. That a law is put into the writings of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered. That's important. That it be not altered. Laws that it be not altered. All right, let's keep going. Verse 20. It says, and when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the same pleased the king and the princes. And the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. Give me 1 second. A new queen. Also, y'all, throughout the course of this lesson, we're going to show that Christ kept the feast of. Also, going to try to show y'all how we came up with the dates. I know, people use different calendars and things like that. You have different types of lunar calendars. You have different type of solar calendars. So we're going to show how we came to the understanding that Purim fell on March the 2nd sundown and it ends on March the 4th sundown. Okay. This is Esther chapter 2, verse 1 through 7. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai. I don't know why I say Haggai, supposed to say Haggai, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let them be given them, and let the maiden what pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan Palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. So before we get into Mordecai, um, the king's chamberlain had an idea, which was pretty much to filter out a wife for the king. Let all the fair women, let the best looking women of the kingdom come to Shushan the palace, which was the resident of the king, and pretty much competing to be queen, right? And they was given, this is an ancient practice, something that was done in ancient times. Before a female would get married, she would purify herself. Um, you even got people that do that today. I'm not going to get into it, but different things for purification purposes, right? But this was something that was done back in ancient times, in particular when a female was about to get married, or even if a female was married already and she was about to become the wife of another man. It was certain things that she had to do to purify herself, to make herself clean again, right? All right. Oh, now with Mordecai is Benjamite. So this is pretty much the introduction of Mordecai, one out of two of the major people or major figures of the Feast of Purim. All right, let's go to verse 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king had carried away. So we see Mordecai is one of the Jews that actually was exiled from Jerusalem and brought into the Babylonian Empire during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, right? So he's pretty much like a